Hello and welcome to Good Enough Chats, the podcast on a mission to destigmatise men's mental health one chat at a time. My name's Dan Boucher, I'm the host and the producer of the show, and before we jump into this episode, I just wanted to give you a quick overview of what we're going to be covering in this particular conversation. So in this episode, I'm joined by Jake, otherwise known as PunkChef41 on YouTube. He's a streamer. He literally makes his life by being online, makes his living by being online. But the interesting thing for me about Jake is he's often talked about mental health, and he does quite a lot of work focusing on that and the community that he is nurturing in his following. Jake deals with an issue which is known as Functional Neurological Disorder. The upshot of which is he cannot go out to work because he has sometimes tens, if not hundreds, of seizures every single day. So this conversation is going to be talking about the impact that that condition has had on his well-being, on his mental health, how it influences the decisions that he's made about what he does and how he does it, his role as a father. All of these things come into play. He is a lovely, lovely man, and he is incredibly generous with his time and super open about what he's dealing with and his desire to help other people. So I think this is a really useful conversation. Plenty of people are going to benefit from this, and without further ado, let's jump into it. Hi Jake, how are you doing?
I'm not too bad, thank you, Dan. How are you?
I'm awesome. This is a real privilege to have you on the show today. Not for the obvious reason that we've both got a mutual interest in Sheffield Wednesday. But
Yeah.
I love when I get to have these conversations with a fellow shed dweller.
Yes. It's nice, isn't it?
It's literally like carbon copy. I've just stuck a few different things on the back here.
See, I keep wanting to stain in here, make it look like a cigar lounge, but then I'm like, if it doesn't look right, I'm going to be stuck with something that depresses me. So I'm keeping it like this for now until I can decide what to do.
One day I might get one of those on-air things as well, because I love that.
Oh, it's really good, but it's also really distracting because sometimes you'll look at it when you're doing a stream and you're like, oh, yeah, that's on.
Well, and on that point, so the streaming, so for the benefit of our listeners and audience, could you introduce yourself, Jake? What's your name? Where are you from? What do you do? Shoe size? I don't know, let's say favourite Sheffield Wednesday goal of all time. Pull that one out.
So I am better known online as Puncture41. I stumbled across making Sheffield Wednesday video by accident, and it's been my persona ever since. But when I'm not on the internet, Puncture41, I'm a father of two. I have a condition called Functional Neurological Disorder, which is a pain in my backside. My shoe size is 8.5, and because it's the only clearest one in my memory, I'm going with Josh Windass's goal versus Derby. That should have won the goal of the season and didn't. He was robbed.
That was one hell of a goal.
It was. I still can't believe he didn't win goal of the season. It boggled my mind.
Yeah, and I don't think there's going to be much overlap between the audience of Good Enough Chats and the audience of Punk Chef 41. And in fact, I don't think there are going to be that many Sheffield Wednesday fans across the listenership here. But right now, do yourselves a favour, people. Go and dig that goal out. Go on to
It's fantastic.
and go and search for Josh Windass, Sheffield Wednesday versus Derby, and you will not be disappointed.
No, there's a podcast called The Second Tier, and they said, "Oh, it's just a fluke of the goal." It's like it's not a fluke of the goal. He hit that. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
it would be a fluke of a goal if I did it.
Yes, yeah, it would be a miracle if I did it. If I was on that pitch, something.
I probably wouldn't even get to the goal. I probably hit the corner flag.
Brilliant. Right. Let's jump straight into the chat, Jake. So,
Yep.
Why is it that you're here today? What's got you to the point where you are sharing your lived experience of your mental health?
So one of the things I do quite a lot when I do live streams, I have something called a mental health check-in with my audience. So we have a 1 to 10 at the start of every show to check how everyone is. And I think it's good for me to be open and a little bit honest to my audience, to other people, to show that it's okay for you to talk about these things. Like we've had it before where there've been people in my audience who have gone, I'm not doing great. So we directed them to try and go to like Andy Men Club or something like that.
Mm.
And with my audience being very male and football fans, you're taught not to talk about your mental health. You're taught not to have that opinion or it's weak
Yeah.
by a certain generation. And I think we're slowly getting to the point where that's changing, which is good. But if I can come on here and talk about my journey, maybe it might help someone else talk about theirs, or even just go to a friend and go, I ain't doing too good. Can we go to the pub? Can we go get a coffee? I need a long chat. And
Mm.
if that 2 hour chat then gets them feeling a little bit better, I've done my job by opening up. You've done your job by letting people talk about their mental health stuff. And it's an honor and a privilege to be on it because you reached out to me, and I do have some fans reach out sometimes and after stuff, but this was something that was very clear and dear to my heart.
That's awesome. And I took it was a complete punt. I thought, right, I've seen Jake talk about this stuff. I'm trying to have record as many of these chats as possible because, as you and I both know, hearing other people talk about what they've been through is a vital step towards
Yeah.
encouraging people who are struggling a little bit, who don't necessarily understand what's causing that struggle, to go and open up and chat to someone, and that can lead to all kinds of positive outcomes for them. And it's just that one step to destigmatize what they might be feeling.
It's
So
okay not to be okay.
yeah, yeah, completely that. And yeah, I was absolutely delighted when I got your response and you said that
Oh, like it took me a while to do the email because I'm dyslexic as anything. And my missus was meant to do it and she was busy. I was like, I'm going to take a punt. I'm going to see if you can understand Jakeisms and see if I don't slip up and put things in where I do another podcast, which is a Wednesday one. And the poor lads who has had to deal with me doing the document, my God, they deserve a medal because some of the stuff I write, I can only read it. And I get, can you explain that, please? I don't understand it. It's like, yeah, neither do I. Let me just give me a minute.
well, it worked because we're
Yep.
here. Right?
Yeah.
We're here and we're talking. And I think this is going to be a really valuable conversation for people. And if each one of these chats affects one person in a positive way and gets them to do something positive to help themselves in their own situation, then as far as I'm concerned, it's job done for
Yeah.
the episode.
Exactly.
I'm very confident that that's going to be the outcome from this discussion as well. So the second question we have is basically taking you from the big picture to like the current. Right? How's your last week been? What? Oh, and I should say before you answer this, Jake, I should say this episode's going to be going out early June. We have literally just finished the football season, which is
There could be a completely different answer come the 5th of June.
Yeah, so
Right.
Jake requested that we do this after the football season.
Yeah.
But it's Sheffield Wednesday and the club's completely crazy. So who knows what the next month's going to entail.
Right now, I'm in that kind of relaxed period of the season's done. I can relax a little bit. But I said this last year and it went to hell in a handbasket very quickly.
Yeah.
And I was putting out 6 videos a day at one point and having to react to stuff. I'm in this really weird Zen chill, but there's somebody from Thailand over my shoulders about to throw a banner into the works of my life, and I'm going to be having to be walking down the road talking to an iPhone doing a video because he put some weird statement out, and I'm sat in Lidl trying to go, I just wanted to buy bread.
That's all I wanted. Just wanted bread. And again, for people that aren't Sheffield Wednesday fans, the reference to Thailand is the owner of Sheffield Wednesday is a Thai gentleman who has made, let's say politely, a series of questionable decisions about the stewardship and running of the club over the last decade. And
I won't lie, drama's good for my channel. I get more views, sadly. But I would rather have a drama-free season. But apart from that, my little boy started nursery this week, which was really good to do. It gave me a break for 2 days a week, which is well needed with my disability. We've been like running to this point, so I actually get a break.
Yeah.
Friday, I had this whole goal idea. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I sat and watched CSI New York on Pluto all day. That's all I did. And it was lovely.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's, I mean, inevitably, the functional neurological disorder, the FND, that's going to come into the next question to give that context. And let's zero in on that. How, in your own words, can you talk us through how your relationship with your mental health has evolved? And you can go as far back as you want to with that. It's your question to
Yeah.
to
So I had a situation. I was a chef. That's where my username comes from. I was a chef, been in kitchen most of my teenage years. Got to about 19 to go in a hotel chain. Was really ill. Couldn't think. I thought it was tiredness, but then I started having seizures. So we had to figure that out. And a lot of it is a bit of past childhood trauma. Me and my dad have only just recently started to talk again. So I'm hoping that's gonna help me improve it a little bit. But it basically it's just my wife now. I wanted to be with my then girlfriend. I had to pick between family and girlfriend, and I picked the girlfriend and not the family, so it caused a bit of tension. Um, and then over the years, my functional neurological disorder, which is basically it gives me seizures without looking at the electrical imbalance in the brain. So it gives you seizure-like things, but they're not technically epileptic seizures.
right.
So the best way to describe it is if you think of it as like a computer. I power down. So I power down and reset to go again. So whenever anything gets too stressful or something like flashing lights, I will go to the floor, have a seizure, and then have to come out of it. And the one consistent I've always had is my wife.
Hmm.
She's been there through everything. And also, then you throw kids into that, it makes it a little bit difficult with
Hmm.
everything else because on top of that, I'm highly dyslexic and dysnumberic. So numbers and money is an issue as well. So for example, if you go get a train, you can look at the train timetable and understand where your train is, where it's going. I look at it, I just see an orange mess.
Hmm.
So I have to try and zero in on the exact train, the exact time, and that is why I'm notoriously 15 to 20 minutes early to anything I go to because I can't give myself that little leeway if I can't understand something.
Yeah.
And I've had functional neurological disorder now for oh god, 10 plus years. It recently got talked about in the House of Commons, and one of the things because I'm a creative person, back in 2019, I started a podcast about it, which is called It's Me, It's F&D,
Hmm.
which is talking about it, and I get other people to talk about their experiences, not necessarily on the podcast itself, but more that they'll reach out to me because some people with it will have issues with speech. They'll have like Tourette syndromes style thing. And the thing I always say, yes, it's a royal pain in the backside, but it's also giving me something that most people, especially men, don't have. I get to see my kids every day.
Hmm.
I don't have this thing where it's only the weekend I see them. I get to see and be a part of their life. So in our household, it's a different situation where my missus works full time and I'm the stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
But I think if I didn't find the positive, I would have been so miserable.
Hmm.
And before that, we just had the dog, and I just used to do the YouTube channel and stuff like that. And the YouTube channel just came about because I was bored. I
Hmm.
was literally bored, and I threw anything and everything on. My biggest video to date is a sodding rowing machine that I did a review on. I think it's like 24,000 views for a rowing machine, and that's not what my channel is. And the Wednesday stuff just came out of nowhere, really. But the functional neurological disorder is something that I have to live with and pace myself and see how different things are. It's not easy.
And if you don't mind me asking, like how frequently are you dealing with seizures?
Anywhere from 60 a day.
60.
Yep. On a really bad day, it gets into triple figures.
And what could you explain what a seizure is like for you? What
Um, the
happens?
only thing I remember when I have seizures is how it feels afterwards. So imagine the worst flu where you can't get out of bed and then you've got to try and get on with your day and go be a dad as well as getting everything else done.
Like so
Uh,
really groggy and
yeah, brain fog, groggy. Sometimes my shoulders get dislocated and I have to put them back in. My hip gets dislocated sometimes and I have to put that back in. It makes juggling things and planning things sometimes quite hard because I don't know how what day's going to be.
yeah,
Like the only time where my seizures were a little bit under control was when we were in Amsterdam and I was having 10 a day and we thought it was because the weed. I'll be
yeah,
brutally honest. We thought it would be because the weed. And I still think to this day, I think there is a slight bit of that way it just calms your brain down for me.
yeah.
But they won't test things like that because F&D it's normally seen as a psychological kind of thing. You've had some sort of trauma, and I have had trauma, but a lot of it is buried. And there's my psychotherapist said she doesn't want me to open some of it up because scared that I may not ever recover from it.
Wow, wow.
So it was like you can talk about it, but I don't recommend it. If we get to that point, I don't want to touch it.
So is the sort of the rationale behind that it could trigger more extreme seizures if you go down that route, or
It's a mixture. It could trigger more extreme seizures before it gets better.
right?
So it would, and there's no guarantee after talking about it, it will get better. So I've had it before where I've had seizures where it's left me in bed for 2 days, but 2 days of non-stop seizures.
Wow.
And there's no point me going to hospital with it because all they're going to do is go, we know what you've got F&D. And I will personally feel like I'm wasting a bed. If I went to hospital every time I have a seizure, I might as well live there. It's a difficult condition to blame to people because some people get triggered where they'll get a smell, a sense, or they'll know it coming. I get nothing.
Mm.
So I could be crossing the road, bang, in the middle, gone. It's difficult.
Have you ever, because you mentioned earlier on about like creating 6 videos a day at some points in your sort of in the Wednesday madness that's going on,
Mm.
reacting to stuff that's going on, but you're doing a lot of live streaming as well. Have you ever experienced a seizure whilst you've been streaming?
Oh yeah, yeah. We had it 2 seasons ago when I did a transfer deadline one. My face dropped to one side and I just felt like this all the way through. So I had to take a break. Luckily, Dex and Jack were on the pod, so were able to come in.
Yeah,
When I do videos, what a lot of people don't realize, some of those have got lots of either I start again or there's a lot of editing in it to take bits out. Because I have done it a couple of times where I left the seizure in to go, this is what I deal with on a daily, but I also don't want someone to see it and then give me sympathy.
yeah,
I'd rather it be open ended. It is what it is. But I've got really good community that will tell me to go there. Don't do many. But the videos actually keep the seizures basically giving me something to do. It
yeah.
keeping my brain active. So it gives me something to do and make me it's gonna sound really weird. It makes me feel like I've got purpose.
Yeah,
Where I know having my 2 kids is the biggest purpose I could ever have. But I'm coming from used to being in a kitchen 24/7 where everything was fast paced and stuff. So it probably fit my still to this day. I'm 38 now. No, I'm not 37, 38 this year. Um, but it probably fits the manic of the kitchen that I used to have.
Mm,
Like I average about 2 videos a day, and that's just because there's normally something to talk about. But I like to have the creative process because I feel like it keeps my brain going, or I will play video game because it's a brain distraction.
mm,
So it for me, it's the moment I stop doing anything where I get a load, or it's the moment everything gets overwhelming. And then I go. It the balance is really difficult. If I do too much, I can cause myself a problem. If I do too little, I cause myself a problem. I'm currently using something called the Visible app. I don't know if you've seen it online.
okay.
So it's basically what it is. I might be able to show you on here. Um,
Well, I'm going to include that and a link to the FND podcast, by the way,
yes.
in the description.
So basically, I've got a Polar 360 like heart monitor thing, and what it does is it measures your heart rate, and then you put all the information of what your disability is, and it'll give you pace points. So it'll tell you if you've done too much to slow down.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it'll go, you're exceeding your heart rate, slow down. And my pace points at the minute is 12. I've got a friend who's worse than me. Hers is 7. So it'll go, you've done too much. That's it for the day. Slow it down a bit. So I'm currently testing that. It does have like a subscription based model with it, which is like 14.99 a month. But I've, because I'm really bad, I've learned to tone my missus out when she told me to stop doing something.
Mm,
And it's not a good thing because I will just not listen to her and just carry on. Where if it's on my phone and it's in my face, I'll see it and it'll annoy me. So I'll have to rest.
yeah. Yeah, I get that. I get that because, like, I guess you could be convince yourself that when your other half says it, you could be, but yeah, but you don't know how I'm feeling at the moment. Well,
Yeah.
that's
She
reading.
can see it normally before I can.
Yeah,
But in the moment, I'm probably like, nah, I'm fine. I'm gonna crack on. And then it'll get to it like she'll like, well, you look like you feel not great. And I will get yelled at to sit down. I will get yelled at by my missus. I will get yelled at by a sassy 7-year-old who will go, sit down, daddy, now. And she's the split of a mother. So when they both do it, it scares me.
but that's good. I mean, they're looking out for you, right?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
looking
Oh,
out
yeah.
for you. Your watch is looking out for you. Your heart rate monitor's reading out for you rather than the watch. But gosh, I had no idea, Jake, that it was that frequency.
A bad week can be because I just recently been doing my pit forms over the last couple of months. And I only got it back, I think it was January, February, March time. And luckily, I got all my PIP back and full rate. But while I was going through that, there were some days I was having 300 seizures a day, and it was making it very difficult for me to have a day or do anything.
Mm,
So when I was doing the coming in here to do a video, it was that little bit of a relief
mm,
where I didn't have to think about it. I could just crack on and do what I'm good at, which is talking rubbish about football.
yeah.
But this place has also become like a little bit of a retreat for me. So when I feel like the house is a bit too much, I just come down here, give myself a breather, then go back to the house.
Yeah. And you're a stay-at-home dad, right? Obviously,
Yes,
you said that youngest has just started going to nursery a couple of days a week.
he's 1.5.
So how does that work for you if you're having that many seizures and you've got two young kids that you're looking after?
So my eldest is very good at knowing what to do now. But she's learned from a very young age how to put me into recovery position. But if she's not here and I have a seizure and say my missus is thing, I very rarely will carry my youngest. I
Mm,
won't pick him up. He got a playpen and it got soft furniture, and I will normally be in there with him. So if I do go down, he can just jump on my head or slap me in the face or hit me with a toy hammer like he did the other day. With a knife, I think he cracked one of my teeth. um, but I've always had it when my kids were younger that I wouldn't hold them for much longer. And if I did, I'd be on the floor with soft furniture. And so it's
mm,
just smaller fall for them than in me.
Yeah.
If I do have to carry them, I make sure I either shuffle on my bum up the stairs or I use the handrail or I'll be really careful with it. Like the work one is if it's the school run, if it's in the pushchair, that one scared the crap out of me. Touch wood, never happened because I, these are lifesavers for me. AirPods for me are lifesavers because I will put an audiobook on and
Mm,
an audiobook or podcast will distract my brain enough to keep everything at bay until I've done my task.
mm,
So having a distraction so to listen to helps. So you might have seen it that sometimes in a video I've got an AirPod in and it's either got something playing in the background or it's from when I've just gone to do the video, I still had it in.
yeah.
So having a distraction like a podcast, a audiobook, I used to be a big reader. Now Audible is my best friend because it'll play the stories to me or podcasts or I'm a big true crime nerd. So I like listening to some of them, but having that helps. It's similar to ADHD
Mm.
when ADHD people do it. And funnily enough, shock horror, I got told I might have that. And someone turned around and said, no, you got ADHD. Never.
Wait, I think you mentioned that when we first had our intro chat. I think you're saying you got there's a long waiting list.
5 years.
Yeah, yeah.
5 years.
There are a couple of guys who have been on the show, um, who have experienced that. There's some of whom are kind of approaching retirement age and only got a
Yeah.
diagnosis in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Others who've kind of who've dealt with it for many years, and I know that those guys will be listening to this as well, and you'll have an awful lot of empathy and potentially some wise words
Yeah.
that they might be able to offer you as well. But that I think it's an amazing thing. I don't want to say this because it always sounds patronizing when you say this to somebody. I think that what you are doing and what you're building with the Punk Chef 41 channel is incredible, especially considering what you're kind of needing to navigate
Yeah.
around in order to get anything out of the door on that. That's
Well, at the end of my F&D podcast, I have a saying. And it basically, if you got out of bed in the morning, you're winning the day. Anything else is a bonus. And if you have to rest, rest. And I think just getting out of bed, I've already won.
mm,
I've already done the hardest part of my day. Anything else achieve. Like today, I've managed to put up some bamboo screening because my fence is knackered. But it's cheaper to do that than get wood at the minute because it's a damn sight expensive.
yeah.
And I'm not a big DIYer. But what I have always said, there's always someone in a worse position than I am. There's always someone a bit worse than I. If I can still get through the day and I've managed to be present in my kids' life, present in my missus' life, done what I wanted to do, which could be a zillion videos or record a podcast episode or even just play a couple of games of Call of Duty because it's something to distract myself. I've done the biggest part of my day. My biggest hardest part of my day getting out of bed. And there have been days where I have just been that bad in my sleep because I don't have good sleep because I have them in my sleep as well. So I don't really have that. It's a running joke on my channel where you will always see me with one of these in my hand, which is probably not the best thing for me, but it keeps me alive.
For the benefit of the people listening to this,
Yes.
that is a big old can of monster that Jake's
Yes, it
showing
is.
the camera.
But I've always been quite driven as a person, and I'm not one to go woe with me. I try and find solution to a problem, and if that includes my F&D or my ADHD, I'll use it as my advantage.
Mm,
I use my the F&D as an advantage to me because I see my kids every day.
yeah,
Not everyone sees the kids every day. I get to go pick them up. I get to go see how their life is evolving. where if I was in the kitchen, I'd barely see them.
Yeah.
The money would be nice, but money can only get you so far in life. I think if you've got a healthy family and I'm healthy as I can be, I'm winning.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair play to you. Um, I've so much admiration for what you're doing and how you're doing it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
it's why some people will see me go off on people in the comment section or in live stream because they don't know that bit,
mm,
what I've dealt with for the most of the day. And for me doing this, it's a release. Like even just doing this podcast, this is something I'm comfortable with. I am so used to speaking to a camera. I'm probably more used to speaking to a camera than an actual person
mm,
in real life. Because with a chronic illness, you get people distancing yourself. So friends who I grew up with are not quite at present anymore
mm.
because I can't do the going out on a night out. I can't do this. I'm very, very simple. Like I will either the YouTuber I will what religiously called Tom Syndicate. He does a vlog every day, every Monday to Friday at 7 p.m. Me and my wife will watch that video. I will then go have an hour bath because my body hurts, and then I will either go play video games or read or listen to my books. And that's my routine in the evening.
And that's entirely understandable because if you, like you say, just popping out down the pub or going around to a mate's house, if you the unpredictable nature of your condition means that you don't know what you know.
It's why I don't buy tickets to go watch Wednesday.
Yeah,
I have done it once where I was at a game and I was there for 10 minutes and I wasted 35 quid for 10 minutes of a match.
yeah,
I had to go home. I can't with the and with the price of we have got at our club, I am not putting myself through that.
no, no, and
It costs too much money for me to get there. I'm not going to do it.
it makes complete sense. And I guess in that respect, the kind of the development of tech and broadcast rights and everything like that is really helpful for you because it
Yeah.
means you get to see many more of the games now. Not suggesting that you would have ever looked at a dodgy stream or anything like that, but you get to
No.
see. There's so many more available right now.
There's so many more available. The Guy Plus thing this season has been a godsend.
Yeah,
I don't like paying Guy. I don't like Rupert Murdoch, but my God, he made it easy for me to watch my team.
yeah,
And the thing is, if I go to games, I will go with Jack or I will go with James because I trust them to
yeah,
be able to be there if something happens. They know what to do. But I have the weird thing I have when I go to games or we have something with Sheffield Wednesday called Owls in the Park,
yeah,
where it's a big community gathering. You get to see the shirts, you get to meet the players. It's really good. It's one of the best things the club's ever done, in my opinion, with the community and fans. The amount of times I walk around there and I just get random people going, "How you doing?" I'm like, I don't know who you are, and I have to go. If you watch me and you comment, what's your username? But it makes you go. What you're doing is worthwhile.
yeah.
Like I did a thank you video yesterday. And someone sent me a message saying it looked like you were doing an apology video for something. I'm like, I watched it back. It really does look like that because I look very
Like you've
serious.
been held hostage by your managers, going, "You are going to say sorry."
Yeah. But I have people putting in I live in Thailand, I live in Bangkok, I live in America, I live in Australia. You are my only source of news.
Yeah,
And the amount of pride and a little bit of pressure, but I like that pressure, knowing that I'm the only source of news they got, it quite overwhelming.
well, I don't want to add to that, Jake, but I have told you this before. I'm based down in Newbury,
Yep.
which is about half an hour west of Reading,
Yep.
and you are the means through which I keep up with all of the Wednesday news.
I appreciate that, man. I
Um,
appreciate it. I do
because
enough content for it.
it's awesome. I I can't remember how I stumbled across your channel in the first place, but it was a few years back now.
Well, the channel, I'll be brutally honest, like I said earlier, the channel was never meant to be a Wednesday channel.
No.
I used to just put my, right, you want an embarrassing video? Everyone go look at my first video I ever put up.
I don't know that I want to put a link to that in the description, but so people go find that.
If people want to find it, go look at it. Completely different to how I am now. But you see the difference of how where the channel come and where it is now.
Yeah.
And it's good progression. But I used to just throw up anything. And my video just ended up on Owl Talk, which is a forum for Sheffield Wednesday fans. And the owner just put a load of my videos up. He sent me a message going, "These are really good. You should keep doing these." And it went from there. It was an accident. It was a pure fluke. But they always say find a niche.
Yeah. Well, what a happy accident, though.
Yeah, okay, definitely.
It's working out well. Um, so let's return to to the subject of your mental health, right? So you've been dealing with FND for the past 10 years or so.
Yeah.
It's obviously it's influenced how you live your life, what you do, a lot of the decisions that you make. It's your financial situation is influenced by it as well, because you said you were trained as a chef and now
Yep.
you can't do that now because of
No.
unpredictable.
There's not many jobs I can technically do. There's not many places that can employ me because of how many I have.
Yeah, yeah, I can completely understand that. But how has your relationship with your mental health kind of evolved over this period? So you talked about, some childhood issues, the impact of FND, all of this kind of stuff conspiring together for you. But also you're talking. I mean, when you talk about it right now,
Yeah.
you're talking in very positive terms, and you're talking about, if I get out of bed in the morning, I've won the day. That's which is a
Uh
good question to have. But how have you gone from where it started to that point, and what were the main sort of like the light bulb moments that you
I've had many suicide attempts in the past.
say?
Where I've had enough of my seizures, I've had enough of how they make me feel, I've had enough of how it's been, and there's there's been one recently, and it just felt like I was letting my kid down, and it was hard because it was just a newborn. Newborn comes in, throws up my routine, changes everything for me. But there've been suicide attempts, there's depression. A lot of my friends are online. It's very rare I get to see in-person mates anymore. So it's quite lonely and
Mm,
it's quite a dark place where if you let those thoughts take over, they will put you in a position where you will be difficult to try and get out of. I'm a big advocate of doing something I do on a Sunday called a brain dump. I either record into my recording equipment or into my iPhone, or I get a simple pen and paper and I write everything that's in my head out. And it stays in there. I don't look at it, it's out my head. So I have a brain dump on a Sunday to start Monday fresh. But it's dark. It's very, very dark because I'm lucky that I found communities who have got FND and I helped run a couple of the support groups with it. But it they weren't there back in 2015, 2014.
mm,
And a lot of that was really difficult. Like we spent a year living with my in-laws, and it was my in-laws, my wife, Nan, and us, and a dog. And having no personal space when you're at home all the time.
yeah.
I was miserable as sin. You say one word to me, I'll snap at you.
Mm,
I would completely snap at you because I would literally just be in a bedroom. It felt like a prison cell. And it wasn't meant to be that way.
no.
But I just took myself out because it wasn't my home. I was there trying to save for a house, and sadly we didn't. But it's my relationship with my mental health can be up and down. It's why I do a mental health check-in with the community, but it's also for me.
Yeah.
If I'm open and honest with people myself, then I can't have the advice that I give go beat someone if I'm not willing to do it myself. And sometimes it's hard, but I will bully it out of myself and go, no, you need to go beat this person. And I've been on antidepressants. I'm on migraine tablets now. They work, but they also don't.
Mm,
They zombify you. And when I'm already zombified most of the day, I don't want something else helping as well. I
mm,
don't need that help. I'm good at that. I'm fine with walking around like a zombie. I do it 24/7 if I'm having a bad day. But there have been suicide attempts, and I'm not proud of it. I'm not happy about it. But you do get to that point in life where sometimes you do think, is this enough? Am I enough? And it's only when you get yourself out of that space where you're about to, I think sometimes it just comes rushing back like really quickly. Like, you've got this, you've got that, you've got that. And it's why I try to be a positive I can do, but it can be difficult. It can be very difficult.
so just what's the phrase is fake it till you make it, isn't
Yeah.
it? In show business, is there a bit of that where the positivity you almost have to force that to get yourself to believe it at times, or
It can sometimes be a bit of a mac. I can mac it quite well. And there's only about three people in my life who can look at me and go, no, you're being completely disingenuous to me right now. Tell me how you're feeling.
Hmm,
And if I have to break down and cry, I'll break down and cry. I have not got no problem crying in front of anyone. If I cry, that become my emotions are at where they are.
yeah,
And if you're someone who got that who you don't cry, for God's sake, just cry. It makes you feel 10 up better afterwards. It really does. Um, I I will I had a situation when I was 12, 14. I lost my grandma, who was a big part of my life. And then I lost my mum in the same year. So I lost two big people, and I don't think I really recovered from it well. And it was only a couple of years ago that I learned how to grieve. And recently, my auntie died, and I couldn't go to the funeral because I had childcare responsibilities. What made me and my dad start talking again. But I'm I'm at that age where I don't want to leave any regrets. You get to the point where you start losing immediate family,
hmm,
and then the circle gets smaller, if that makes sense.
yeah,
So I don't want regrets, even if I don't get a relationship out as if with my dad. At least I tried.
yeah,
But there are times where the mental health and the chronic illness will put you in a dark corner where you just feel like you're on your own.
yeah,
But that's why I do podcasting. That's why I do videos. It's why I do it, because it's not just helping me. If I turn around and go, I am doing great. I've done one. I think I did one 6 months ago in November where I went, I am not great. I am really doing badly. And I spill my heart out to random people on the internet. Sometimes it's a bad decision, but I have built the community I've got. So I trust that it's not going to come back at me. Where you just do it to a random load who you don't know and you don't see the familiar names, it could be a bad idea.
hmm,
But I will be open. I will be honest, because I don't like people that do it to me when they're not disingenuous. I'd rather you just tell me if there's an issue, tell me. I might not like it, but you've got it out your system, if that makes sense. But
yeah.
the chronic illness can be a very lonely path if you don't have the right support network. I'm very, very lucky and thankful my support network's there.
Just an observation, right? This is the second time you and I have ever spoken.
Yeah,
Still behind the curtain. We had an intro chat,
we
which was
did.
lovely. We're doing this recording now. And I kind of got a sense of this from watching your videos anyway. But um, you are very empathetic. I think
Mm,
you you come across as very approachable, and concerned about the welfare of others.
Yeah.
Do you think that is that a quality in you that has been accentuated by what you've been through in the last 10 years, or do you think you were that person before it happened?
I think I was that person before it happened, but I think the F&D and everything else made me more grateful and thankful. And like the biggest component that we all don't have is time.
Mm,
Like we're doing this on a bank holiday Monday where most people see a bank holiday Monday like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. But I don't mind giving my time for something like this because it means something. Time is the one thing you can't get back. And I've always been quite empathetic, and or I've always been the person who's been the person that friends have gone to for advice, or I'm not doing great, I'm not doing it. But when it was the shoe was on the other foot,
yeah,
the door was slammed in my face, going, just get on with it. Where if people do that to me now, you're no longer in my life.
yeah.
I ain't got time for that. If you want to spill your heart out to me, but then not give it back, yeah, sort of. I'm not down for that. I can't be bothered to be trying to build that relationship if it's not mutual. And I think for a long time, I let people walk over me.
Mm,
And it was only, I'd probably say 2012, 2013, where I stopped giving a crap
mm,
what people thought of me. Like normally for people who were listening, I normally have a big, massive, multicolored mohawk and I don't care what anyone thinks. And I think that's there because of I keep the mohawk because A, it's part of my brand. I won't lie. But I think it's my big FU to anyone who gives me anything.
mm,
Because a mohawk is seen as quite powerful, but most people who beat to a mohawk, they're the kind of people in the world. They really are. They're really lovely. But I've always had that kind of, if you tell me no, the worst thing you can do because it's going to motivate me to do something 10 times better. So I am quite empathetic, but it needs to be shown back as well.
yeah,
I'm not going to be the person that just lets you trauma dump on you.
yeah. Yeah, you're not like a sponge that's just going to constantly soak up
No,
everybody else. It's got to be
don't be mutual.
it's got a conversation, not a
Yeah,
not a monologue. It's a
yeah,
dialogue.
yeah. It needs to be a back and forth. And I, it took me too long to learn that.
Mm,
And I think it was a bad thing for me to take too long. But when I did, it clicked. And when things like that click, it opens your eyes a little bit more of how you've been as a person or how you've been treated.
mm,
And I do actually with people go look at some of the conversations you've had with people in the past. Don't overanalyze it because you overanalyze it, you'll do your head in.
mm,
But look at how much you're saying and then how much they say back. It might question how you see your friendship
mm.
with certain people.
Yeah. Wow. That's powerful, Jake. I'm so grateful that you've been so candid. I knew going into this that you were going to be
Yeah.
and like an open book on this. But just for people listening to this, so the idea with this show is I want to try and build a bank of conversations, one-to-one conversations, so that when somebody needs to hear it, it's there, right? This
Yeah.
is not about getting millions of subscribers and
You're
thousands.
offering free therapy to people who need it.
Well, it's almost it's like somebody gets to listen in to a conversation that someone might have with a therapist, and I am
Yeah.
not a therapist, and I am not
No.
a professional. I'm someone who has been through some shit and recognizes the value in hearing other people talk about it, right?
Yeah.
But being able to listen in to somebody talking so candidly and openly about how they've felt about things and what they've been through, I think can be really powerful. And it's only
Mm.
by people coming on like you and opening up like that that this can really kind of achieve that.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful. Um, we're already at question 5 of the 5, and that last one is somebody comes to you today and they've been through some of the similar experiences that you've talked through. Um, what is the most important thing that that person can do to start improving their situation and helping themselves?
Find people you trust and have an open conversation with them that they need to be, you might need to call on them to be your support group, but also you'll be their support group as well.
Mm.
I think if you get a group of people who can understand you and you understand them, I think support groups in any form of mental health or in life is important. Like the kind of people you can go rely on at work that you know if you give them X folder to do and you know you need it done by 4, it's going to be done by 3
Yeah.
because they know you need it by 4. I think having people to talk to and communities that you trust, I think that's the big thing. It trust because I trust a lot of my audience to not use anything against me because I offer free content and a lot of my audience are lovely. Um, and if you're not lovely, I just ban you. I don't care anymore.
You've
I
been
like,
told. That's your warning. Be lovely.
yeah, be nice. The rule of fun is, and power of fun, if you're a dickhead to me, I'm a dickhead back.
Yeah.
I, I can be the most nasty person in the world if you wind me up to a point of thing, and I don't mean to, but we've all got a breaking point. And I have enough going on in my life not to deal with some random stranger who I don't care about. If you're a friend and you do it, it'll hit me more. But support networks, friends you trust, and be open as much as you want to be open. Don't be forced to say anything. If you want to say something, you say it. And if they go, you know, tell me more, it's all right to go, nope, I'm done. That's all I wanted to. Because I think if you get forced to open up when you're not ready, and especially when it's not a trained professional like a therapist or psychotherapist, you could say something that they won't handle, and then you could affect their mental health.
Yeah.
So it's about making sure you are comfortable with what you say and how you say it, comfortable with the people you're saying it to, and saying it's okay to go, nope, I have said what I needed to say. It's enough for me. My bucket is well and truly empty. I am feeling a little bit better now, and I have time. I can try and be a better person and have a better day because I've told you as much as I can tell you
Yeah.
without either damaging myself or damaging you. Because I think it's a very tough. I think some people, it's my biggest gripe with social media. People overshare. The world of social media is overshare, overshare, overshare. And so for some people, it's just how they are. They overshare and it's how it is. That's their personality, then fine. But some people, they overshare because they know it's the like button. They see that number going, it's a dopamine hit.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing. You shouldn't be looking for that from random people. If you are looking for that from random people, and it's a little bit, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Hypocritical for me because I like that dopamine hit when people leave comments and views and hit the like button. But I also know I'm not very rarely, I'm not talking about things that are private. I am talking about I'm going to be careful what I say here, a little old football club in the scheme of things compared to someone's mental health.
Mm.
And I think too many people think they're sharing it for the right reasons. Where this platform here, how we're doing it now, is the right reason. Doing it, say, on a random Instagram thing where your followers don't know much about you, and you say you cover makeup or you cover cars or something, that might not be the right platform to have someone going, I ain't doing too great. I'm depressed. You'll get the idiot going, man up, suck it up.
Mm.
Doesn't matter. I deal with X, Y, and Z. It's like, be careful where you post what you're gonna. post or who you tell. Because I have a mug in my house and it's from one of my favorite true crime podcasts. And it literally just says, people are shit. And there are some people who are just shit and they don't care unless they get what they want, which is sometimes your negativity or your vulnerability. And vulnerability is something you cannot get back. The moment you're vulnerable with someone, you have opened the door. And time, vulnerability is things you don't get back.
Mm.
And that eats into your time because then you're playing defensive and then you're having to put more walls up. I always see mental health as a big castle where you take a wall down, you open up. You take a wall down, you open up. But if something changes that, 18 more walls go up before you get to that other wall that you were just at.
Yeah, you're in a unique position, I think, out of all of the people that have come on to be a guest on the show, in that you're the first person who is kind of making their kind of their presence through that online journey.
Mm.
Like, so, you know, people, I have people on that have got a following. Some people don't have any following at all, because that's not the point of this, right?
No.
But you're the first person I think is, like, on a daily basis exposed to some of that toxicity that exists and some of that shitty behavior that people demonstrate.
What the Irish do? Shitty people do shitty things because they're shitty people.
Hmm.
And I think that's very true. And I think you also got to remember the internet cruel. The internet, anyone can hide behind a green name and say whatever.
Hmm.
And I think the reason I did the Wednesday videos, I was sick of being a keyboard. I'd rather have my face say what I'm going to say. And if someone disagree with me, but disagree with it, that's fine. That's life. I'm not going to agree with everything you say. You're not going to agree with everything I say. I don't mind that, but if you do it in a nice way. Do it in I disagree, and give me a reason why you don't disagree. Don't give
Yeah.
me just I disagree because of this. You give me a reason, it starts a conversation. You start a conversation, you get to know a little bit more about the person. And sometimes some of those conversations do end up going into, I can't stand you. But that we're human. We're human. We're
Yeah.
not meant to like everyone. You are allowed to go. And for me, I used to be such a people pleaser. Used to be a heavy people pleaser and do it because I had to. I would say yes to things when I could have just said no, and I'll end up doing it. But I've learned over time you don't need to please everyone. You're
Yeah.
not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I know for a fact there's so many people that probably watch my stuff and think I'm an idiot, but they're not my audience I'm going for.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to find your tribe. That's it.
Yeah,
You find your tribe. Like, you were nurturing this community based around that kind of shared interest and passion for Sheffield Wednesday, but you're also, with the FND podcast and the work you're doing with the support group there, it's another community
yeah.
kind of nurturing. And you're right, you're finding your people. You don't need to be all things to all people. People,
And if anyone does go into like the content thing, the biggest advice I can give you, if you ever go into content, we all start on the same number, 0. We all start on 0 things made, 0 subscribers, 0 likes. Everyone had the same flat rate. So don't be afraid if you go and do something like this, because everyone starts on 0. It's scary and you make mistakes. Trust me, I've made loads. I did a game Saturday. I couldn't even pronounce half the Watford players, so I didn't bother. I gave up. I saw it like, nope, sod that. I'm not getting the absolute mick took out of me because I know someone will go, it's this, and this. I don't care.
yeah. Well, to be fair, the Watford's team names are quite confusing, and you are dyslexic. So
Yes. Yeah. The moment I saw that team shit, I was like, I was like, I'm not going to finish how I carried on. This isn't question time. I'm walking away. If you want to know it, read it.
Awesome. Jake, I know I've said it already, but I'm so grateful that one, that you've come onto this platform, and two, that you've been so open and honest. And I know I know that this conversation is going to help someone. I hope it exposes or shines a light on FND to a wider
Mm,
audience. Uh, I hope that for your audience, your community, they're able to find out a little bit more about you than they did know before, because I know that they support you when you're
yeah.
talking about your mental health concerns. I strongly believe that this is going to land with somebody, and this is going to make a difference to them. And
Mm,
this is going to go into that bank of chats, and it will be there for as long as YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever. As long as they
yeah.
kind of have that thing up there, it will be there, and someone
Yeah.
will find it in the future, and it will be useful to them as well. And that's what this is all about. I'm so grateful that you've done this. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate you getting in touch and just saying, would you like to do it? Because, as you know, this is something I'm passionate about. Um, and I'll just leave you with one of my things. What's your mental health goal today? How is it? 1 to 10. Let us know.
It's a good question. Yeah, it's a really good question. And actually, I'm going to answer that for me. I'm going to say I'm a 7 today, which
That's a
is
good goal.
progress, because earlier in the week, the last couple of weeks, I've probably been more like a 5.
Yeah.
So I'm a 7. What are you today?
I'm probably about a 6. Last week was very stressful with the video galore and that little nervousness when you know your little child going to nursery, you're not too sure how they're going to take it.
Yeah.
You walked in, didn't realize I was there, and then I just left. It was nice. But I'm a 6, but that could go up during the day if I achieve something I want to do.
Well, you've done something awesome today already.
Yeah.
You've done this.
It'll go up.
Yeah.
And this is and I won't lie, I've got a video to do later and I've got a live stream later tonight. So that should be a good time with my audience as well.
Yeah. Awesome. And let us know if you've got all the way through this. Whenever you've watched or listened to this episode, drop a comment to let us know what your score actually
Yes,
is,
please do.
because that shows us that people are still listening to this. People are getting all the way through it and finding value in it. So thanks once again to Jake. Thank you to you, the listeners, the viewers, for coming on this journey with us in this episode. I hope you found it helpful. If you have, please share it, put it in front of somebody that you think needs to see it. Share it across your socials so that we can get it in front of more people that way. Like, share, subscribe to this wherever you find it. And if you're listening to this on the podcasting platforms, please consider giving us a review, because giving us those reviews is really what helps to kind of catapult this and get this in front of more people and build credibility. So give us a 5-star review. Apparently, it doesn't matter what you say in the review.
No, it's
Five
all
stars.
algorithm. As long
Yeah,
as you just
just
put it up, it's fine.
the more stars, the better. But we really appreciate it. And we will be back again soon with another episode of Good Enough Chats.